your God power. Get everything you ever wanted and live the life of your dreams. The Master's Course. Copyright 2010 by Richard Lee McKim, Jr. All rights reserved. Let the quest for knowing begin. Question number 4. What is the foundational basis of every single experience? A. The actual physical elements and characteristics of the experience. Or B. The underlying meaning of the experience. It's B. The underlying meaning of the experience. That's the only thing that matters. It's not the elements or characteristics of the experience. They don't mean anything until you give it meaning. So the actual physical elements and characteristics of the experience, an example for the sugar pill, was sugar. It was candy. That was the actual physical elements. That was the characteristics of the experience where you were eating candy. The operation that didn't really happen, the actual characteristics of that experience was nothing happened. It was a big charade. The doctor was squirting water around and pretending like he was operating. That was the actual physical elements and the characteristics of that experience. Did that matter? No. The actual physical elements and characteristics of the experience do not matter. The actual elements and characteristics of the experience do not factor in whatsoever. It is always the underlying meaning of the experience. An example, the alligator-skinned boy. He had an incurable disease, but yet that physical characteristic didn't mean anything. It was the meaning that the doctor had that he could cure it, so he did. Why? Because he had the meaning that he could. Now, of course, later, he changed the meaning to where now he couldn't because he didn't think he could. He no longer had that meaning, but it was the meaning that caused the cure to be possible, not the elements. The elements were, it was an incurable disease, which could be cured for the moment on one case, but never cured again. Why? Because the meaning at that moment was it was curable. Why? Because it was a misdiagnosis. They thought it was something else. And so they mistakenly gave it a meaning of something that could be healed. So while it had that meaning, even though it was a mistake, while it had that meaning, it was able to be healed. But the moment that it was properly diagnosed, in other cases, and it now had the meaning of incurable, now that the meaning has changed, it was incurable. Had any of the elements changed? No. Only the meaning. It is only the meaning that counts. That's it. So, what is the foundational basis of every single experience? The basis is meaning, not elements. Meaning. Elements are neutral. Makes no difference what they are. It is what they mean to you is the only thing that counts, and that is your God power, your ability to change meaning. When you change meaning, you change reality. You don't have to change elements. Just change what they mean. That's it. Okay. Question number 5. Does the idea of God power make sense in terms of religion, physics, psychology, and biology? A. Yes, it does. B. No, it doesn't. That's a gimme. That's easy. Of course it's yes. It's A. In terms of religion, God power is all about faith and belief. That's what religions are based on, faith and belief. And physics? Physics is the unlimited possibilities. Everything is possible, and the observer is the one who makes the choice which causes the situation to change even at the most elemental, fundamental particles of the universe. It is what the observer thinks about it. It is the meaning the observer has that causes it to act one way or the other. That's your ability to change meaning. When you think it's supposed to be acting like an electron, and in your mind you have the meaning that an electron is like a particle, and you observe it, then it acts like a particle. Why? Because that's your meaning for it. When you're not looking at it, it's just being a wave function, which is just random. It can be anything. But the moment you look at it, what's happening? As you're looking at it like what? Like you have a meaning in your mind for what it is. Hey, that's an electron. It's supposed to be a particle, and it's supposed to behave in this way. And guess what? When you're looking at it, it does. Why? Because you're giving it meaning. Physics proves that we give meaning to even the most fundamental particles of the universe, and they respond to our meaning. Psychology? Absolutely. Psychology is all about looking at the situation and feeling better about it. How do you feel better about it? You change the meaning of it. But the only thing is when we change the meaning with our God power, we actually change the reality of it. Psychology, they would say, feel better about being sick or being in the hospital. We say, change the meaning, and you are better. You get better. You change the reality of it. And biology, that is the most powerful place you can recognize how powerful your God power is. In biology, we basically have two states. We're in the fight or flight mode, which we're in protection, or we're in the happy, feel-good growth mode. What's the difference between the two? The difference between the two is how you perceive the situation. What's the basis of how you perceive the situation? The meaning you have for the situation. If you think you're going to die, then you're going to die. That is the meaning you've assigned to the situation. That puts your body in protection mode. It's not protecting itself. The immune system is shut down, all of that. But if you think you're going to live because you've just taken a miracle drug, guess what? You're going to live. So biology is an absolute, God power is absolutely compatible with biology in a very real way that you can see. Okay.
That was the end of chapter number 1. To continue, go to How to Use Your God Power, chapter number 2, the first segment, number 1. Let your quest for knowing continue.